Disney has finally done it. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker officially passed $1 billion. Yeah, so the officially passed $1 billion today. Okay, actually it was Tuesday it passed it on, but the box office still was a 52% drop from yesterday. It's still behind Rogue One. It's still behind Rogue One at all costs. Okay, it's still doing better than all these other movies coming out. It's still behind one other movie which we all know that's 1917, the war movie that topped the box office last week. You know, and of course there were some people who hate it because you know especially one person who hated it because it got invisible effects or weird about Angel. I always don't like how the fact that Star Wars got over this movie. Star Wars. This movie's not even a good movie, and that got best visual effects. Okay, you know, Disney obviously paid the way to get the movies on the list. Like you can see, like Endgame and Lion King, there's also technical achievements for film. Same thing if but Weird About It was not a technical achievement for film. It's so been on there. Okay, this is why this is why it don't make any sense. So we'll be going over here. The comparison shot here. Okay, so they have the um Rogue One, the Star Wars story. Okay, the worst Star Wars movie has a fit, but this is double-edged sword. Okay, domestically, now you know for sure it's gonna do worse than Rogue One, the Star Wars story, unadjusted for inflation. Like I said yesterday, it's never gonna pass Rogue One. It's not gonna. Now it's soon gonna probably fall behind Rogue One worldwide. Okay, Rogue One actually hit $1 billion before Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. They don't have the worldwide weekly sales, but let's see. Rogue One 1 billion. When did Rogue One hit $1 billion? Okay, so to so actually Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker hit $1 billion before Rogue One, a Star Wars story did. Okay, but it's always what Rogue One had to catch up to The Rise of Skywalker domestically. It probably had to catch up foreign too. It's probably still behind a tiny bit foreign or international sales. Okay, but has already caught up domestically. Okay, the international box office for Rogue One is $523 million, but I don't think it'll pass. But now it's gonna be pretty now this movie worldwide is basically now neck to neck with Rogue One, only like 30 to 40 million behind The Rise of Skywalker. That is just concerning for a Star Wars movie because literally on the 22nd of 2017, Rogue One passed $1 billion. Okay, so that means Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker is the worst selling Star Wars movie. And of course, those numbers are unadjusted for inflation. If you adjusted for inflation, it is definitely now behind Rogue One, the Star Wars story. It's definitely behind Rogue One, the Star Wars story by a by a $20 million margin, okay? The fact that it's neck to neck with the unadjusted gross, the fact that its unadjusted gross is now neck to neck with its world domestic gross, okay? The fact that this movie needed Christmas to actually be neck to neck with Rogue One is just absolutely hilarious in how bad this movie is doing at the box office, okay? Compare it to The Weekend, Rogue One is destroying The Rise of Skywalker, and it's destroying this movie, it's destroying Disney Star Wars, okay? It'll probably be around 30, even 40 million ahead of The Rise of Skywalker. And considering that next week that this and 2 days there's more competition internationally, like actual international competition, like 917 didn't really do well internationally compared to Star Wars, okay? If you even compare, 1917, okay, 1917 only grossed $21 million internationally, okay? Doolittle will probably be the one that'll be taking money out of, not of, Star Wars' international gross, okay? Taking money out of Disney Star Wars, because that's how it will be. And, 1917 will probably end up like around here. It's because it's a kind of a small movie, okay? It'll probably make back its money. Okay, it'll probably make $100 million internationally as well. And if you compare it to The Last Jedi, it's just laughable. That movie will never pass The Last Jedi. The fact that now we're talking about being behind Rogue One is just absolutely laughable. Okay, it's definitely be ahead of movies like Finding Dory. It's gonna be ahead of that movie worldwide. It's gonna probably it might pass Aladdin, but probably be still like 2 to 3 million behind Rogue One. Which if that's the case, this movie is an absolute fail. It'll probably go 7 million next week. 7 to 6 million next week. Probably let's see how movies like Joker did. So Joker, because this movie is now behind the dailies on Joker as well. We can move 917 as well from this, and Aladdin, which both goes 330 to $360 million domestically, and Aladdin, okay, which considering those movies had pretty amazing legs, okay, that was compare how those movies did, okay, Joker and Aladdin, okay. Yeah, it's not gonna go 14 million like those movies did. Okay, here's a more. It'll probably go on something to 8 million this weekend. It's pretty catastrophic for Star Wars. It's pretty catastrophic decline for Disney Star Wars. Okay, the fact, and it's also behind The Last Jedi as well. So, which is 7 million behind The Last Jedi. So, but it won't continue 7 million behind The Last Jedi. Probably like 5 million, which means that's around 5, 6 to 7 million dollars. That's pretty awful for a Star Wars movie. This movie shouldn't be doing this poorly, okay? The fact that it's gonna be doing worse than Joker's sixth and Aladdin's sixth weekend is another laughable thing, okay? Even you could put like a movie like everyone Captain Marvel, which also came out this year and goes similar amount goes on $400 million here. Here we go. Captain Marvel ended with 12 million. And Captain Marvel is doing better than The Rise of Skywalker. Okay? This is absolutely laughable sales here for Star Wars. Okay? The fact that Captain Marvel is doing better than Star Wars is just absolutely ridiculous. Okay? Star Wars should be doing endgame numbers. This movie should be endgame. Should be neck to neck with Endgame. Okay? Not with Captain Marvel. Okay? Not with Joker and Aladdin. Okay? Not with, Rogue One, which, no, they're actually not neck to neck, behind those movies actually, and still is behind The Last Jedi too. It's still behind The Last Jedi as well too. So it is being beaten by all these movies that made less money than it. It did pass $1 billion, but it's $1 billion disappointment. Okay, bad movies have grossed $1 billion. All you have to do is look at the awful Transformers movies, those movies that no one likes. Okay, besides like 2 people. Okay. The Transformers movies, okay? Those garbage movies that nobody watched, okay? That's the equality of Star Wars with the types of movies. They are Dark of the Moon. I think that was the most successful one too, Dark of the Moon, and it's doing neck to neck with Dark of the Moon, and that made like 330 million, and that made like 352 million domestically. It's actually and Dark of the Moon. That if you adjusted for inflation as well, Dark of the Moon, okay, which you can adjust it for inflation as at $404 million domestically, it is behind Dark of the Moon. It's doing neck to neck with Dark of the Moon now, okay? Which that's one of the better comparisons because adjusted for inflation, Dark of the Moon grows $14 million. So if you just put it here, if it does similar to Dark of the Moon, it'll probably grow around 8 million, okay? Because Star Wars is 2 million ahead of Dark of the Moon at this point, but now it's doing almost neck to neck, so it could probably grow $7 million to do similar to Dark of the Moon, which just proves that Star Wars is a dying franchise. Okay, the fact that it's doing bad, this is bad today. Movie that came out in 2011 is just absolutely hilarious. This movie is a disaster. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, as I said already, is $1 billion failure. It's $1 billion disaster. Okay, Game of Thrones season 8 was still a disaster despite making a lot of money. Game of Thrones season 8. It's still a disaster because it made a lot of people not happy, okay? You can compare it to any movie, compare it to, any movie the similar stature of it. Let's look at the, and the other, to other movies in the other billionaire losers club too. The Lion King is behind that movie by a significant margin. It's behind The Lion King in a significant margin here. It's probably behind Frozen 2 with a significant margin, okay? It's probably behind all the movies that grossed over $500 million domestically at a significant margin. You know, especially like movies like Infinity War, Incredibles 2, and Black Panther. It's probably behind those movies by a significant margin, as well as behind. It's even behind The Lion King by a significant margin, which kind of died. It's kind of fizzled out around you know as well. And if you compare it to like Black Panther, which goes $200 million domestically. This is Black Panther, you know. And you can see here that this is Black Panther, and it's ahead of Star Wars by a massive margin. Okay, or we put in Endgame, which is even bigger. Endgame, Black Panther had better legs than The Rise of Skywalker, so we could put in Endgame, another movie that didn't have that great legs, but Endgame did have like a $300 million opening, so that's kind of like the it's kind of not really. Even Endgame was doing better at this point at times. So, and Endgame didn't have that great legs. It had really bad legs at the box office too. So, Star Wars is just doing terrible. Okay, it has worse legs than Endgame. Endgame has dropped 91.5%, and it has dropped basically the same amount as Endgame. And the reason why Endgame dropped so hard because a lot of people went out to go see the movie. Actually, it was $357 million domestically first weekend. Okay, everybody rushed out to see Endgame. Okay, you're not seeing people rushing out to see Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. The movie still grossed $1 billion. Okay, with Disney's logo, of course. Disney, forcing everybody to watch this movie and say, "Oh, there's no competition. There's only one choice. Our garbage." And so that's basically it. So Star Wars is still continuing to do worse. Rogue One is probably gonna beat Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, which, and in everybody else's mind, and every normal person's mind, is a failure. It won't pass the unadjusted gross, and there is a chance that there is a world where Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker is beaten by an unadjusted gross of Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, which, by the way, which also passed Joker, which Joker passed at the box office. So yes, Disney, DC, Joker is a more popular movie worldwide, even with the help of China. Still behind Rogue One, and even then, China didn't want to see Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker anyways, because they know that movie is a pile of crap to begin with. So, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker has definitely been a box office disappointment. It was probably gonna gross $1 billion anyways, but this movie is now trailing behind Rogue One. It is now trailing. It's now behind Rogue One, which is the bad thing. Okay, it's behind now Rogue One worldwide. And you compare it to any movie like Joker had much better legs than Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, and now it has better legs than The Rise of Skywalker at this point because of how poorly the movie did at the box office, so how abysmally The Rise of Skywalker made at the box office. No one went to go see The Rise of Skywalker, besides the normies and the people who went to see it at first, but no one's coming back. You're not getting the people come back, and it's just a massive blowout. It's a massive disaster for Disney. Okay, it's a massive disaster for Disney. Actually, Joker's about to surpass Toy Story 3 at the box office. I don't think it will, but it will probably. It's about to surpass Toy Story 3 unadjusted gross. But the fact that Star Wars there is a world where Star Wars will do Rise of Skywalker. It's gonna pass the Phantom Menace unadjusted gross. But of course, adjusted for inflation, the Phantom Menace destroys the Rise of Skywalker. We don't even have to explain that one. Okay, it might not even pass Aladdin at the worldwide box office. Which is another thing. It might not even pass Aladdin because it took like a month, 2 months for Aladdin to pass $1 billion. Okay, and Aladdin kept trekking along to $1.05 billion. Kept trekking along as well. It was around the end of June. Okay, it took like a month too. So Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker took less than a month to hit $1 billion, but that doesn't really matter because of rigs. This movie is dropping off like crazy worldwide. This movie is dropping off like crazy. Okay, so that's basically it. Goodbye.